So how's it going?
Yeah, really good. We've been renovating the garden today, and it's absolutely
lovely.
Let's see if we can all get in. The three amigos.
Excellent. I've never had 3 in one box before.
Pardon.
Oh, the dog as well. That spirit.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking along the same lines as Neil with that.
I'll just stop at you two. Just behave. That's just behave. We don't know your stories tonight, Neil.
I'll leave the room.
Can I just tell you now, he's twice as bad tonight because he's got Farley with him. So
oh dear.
Yeah. There's like
I've never met Paul.
No.
Which is why I called you Peter.
That's right, yeah.
He doesn't do anything.
I do
so very polite, you.
So
letting her call you Peter.
A little introduction to Paul. Paul has joined us. Paul, me and Paul met through our passion of history. I was following his channel, he was somewhat following mine. He was very intrigued in my mediumship and the paranormal side of things.
No.
And as you know, history and paranormal go together because they're both the same thing. And through our friendship, we've also set up our own YouTube channel, which is called MC Urban Explorations.
Yes, I'm going to ask you about that later.
Well, yep, please do. And that's us dressing up as soldiers and going out. No, it isn't. What's up?
Oh, right in there.
It's all right. We're
so in.
So, and that's where our friendship is building in, like, or what we like, the paranormal, the spiritual. And Paul is a little bit sensitive. He does have a tongue, so if you want to ask him anything, you can ask. But yeah.
It has been snipped off from time to time.
Yeah, but that's we're not talking about family.
That's completely different. That's a completely different show.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of photographs that people have sent over that they want your expertise.
Yeah.
Vicky.
Oh, no. I'll be good, I promise.
No, just be honest. That's the beauty of your outfit is the balance is there, isn't it? You've got the spiritual side and you've got the scientific side, and that works. It's brilliant the way it works. So yeah, just be dead honest, because I'm sure that the people that sent it over will appreciate that.
I won't tell them that they need a Hoover and to just more.
That's what you told me, Vicky. I think that was your exact words. You need to just hoover up, missus.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
She's not wrong.
No, I'll have already offended half of the world, won't I, by saying about orbs and the light off your mobile phone. So if you offend the other half, Vicky, we're absolutely fine.
Yeah. Let's start the way we mean to go on. Let's just offend everybody and tell them they need to clean up.
When we go live, I'll sit with my hands like that. He can block his ears and Vicky can go like that.
We're already live, Neil.
Oh, oh well.
Yeah.
This is what I never said any swear words.
Yeah.
No, you kept that a secret. Oh, yeah, yes, sorry.
That's what we like.
Right, do you want me to disappear, Angie,
Yeah,
so that you can get on with the serious stuff?
And monitor the chat for us. That'd be fantastic. Keep those questions coming, guys. Let's keep these on the toes tonight.
See you later.
See you in a bit.
Right.
Each knows she does such a brilliant job. She just literally, all the questions that will come in, she'll send to me and I'll just fire at you as well. So it's lovely, lovely, lovely to have you on. I've been dead excited about this one because, as you know, with Paul's classes, you've come into quite a few of those now, and I tend to turn up at all of them. Not that I'm a groupie or anything, but you know, I just love listening to your stories.
You never turned up. We were waiting for your booze back, but you never turned up.
I couldn't get there that night, unfortunately. I was absolutely gutted because I was really, really looking forward to it. But unfortunately, something happened that stopped me from coming. So, yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't get there. So I was really, really upset about that. But I will get to the next one, I promise.
Good.
It's got to be done because, you know, it's all right talking about them, but actually being on one. I have been on one in the past, but not with you guys. But actually being there, it must be amazing.
There was a lot of energy, a lot of tears, a lot of cuddles, and it really went down well.
Yeah.
we made some good connections as mediumship. A lot of stuff come through using the Equivox, and the proof was in the pudding. There was a guy there who actually accepted and validated everything I'd said about an individual. There was some amazing people there.
Yeah, it was Michael, wasn't it? With his
It
granddad.
was,
Yeah. Oh, it's been talked about ever since.
Yeah,
It really has.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely brilliant.
It was kind of a, I mean, let's put it this way: when you go on a paranormal investigation as an investigator and a medium, you're bringing up evidence and giving it to people, and unless they know the history of the location, they have to take it on face value that you were what you're saying is real. And when you get someone in the audience or with the group suddenly goes, by the way, everything you've said is my granddad, I mean, that just validates that's the crossover evidence we always
for a while, hasn't he? He'd held back for a while before letting you know.
Yeah, which was a good thing, because it allowed, and I knew there was in the video, which if you've watched, I keep going back to this gentleman because his energy was so strong. But I think without having an umbilical cord connecting from this spirit to Michael and then to me, he was a battery, as in Michael, making that connection so strong, because he had a personal connection with the person in spirit, his granddad, and then I was channeling my energy and keeping that connection strong. And I've had some really good connections in the past, but that was so strong. Numerous times you'll see in the video, or you've seen in the video, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm going to have to keep going back. It's just I can't break the link." And obviously, the person keeping it so strong was Michael. Bless him.
Amazing. I wish I'd seen it, but I wasn't there, so you know, I'll just do with the video for this one.
Yep, it's a good one.
So I want to move over to Paul, not Peter.
Yep.
I'm going to be getting this wrong. I'm so sorry.
If you really want to.
I was blonde once, you know. I really suited it.
So was I when I was born.
So, what role do you play in the investigations then? What's your little job?
Well, I do most of the filming now. With having, I've got several YouTube channels, and I do a lot of filming anyway. And I'm interested in history and the paranormal, as Neil's quite rightly pointed out. They're very similar, and they coincide with each other. And so I wanted to go along with Neil and do some investigations, and he was quite nice enough to say, "You can film for me if you want," which is absolutely fantastic for me. And it fulfills two roles: one, learning about the paranormal, and one, learning about history and everything else I'm filming, which is what I love.
Excellent. So it kind of all goes hand in hand then, doesn't it?
Everything goes hand in hand. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
Lovely. Right, so we've got a couple of questions. Let me just scroll back so that I'm not missing anything. Right, so the question: these places that they go to, is it the history from that place that draws you to it, or is it something else?
Who's that for?
This is from Vanessa.
And is that for us as investigators, or the mediumship side, or both?
I think it's from both. I think it's just what draws you to a place, what makes you want to go and investigate somewhere.
Well, I think it's the history has a massive thing when it comes to a location, because without history, there isn't kind of an investigation there. It has to have some sort of history to be able to connect to something. So, for instance, if you were down in Drakelow tunnels, for instance, the trauma and stuff that happens around there, it's got history to it.
Yeah.
If you were to go to a castle, then our researchers and our historians would try and find as much information about it, so we're not spending hours and hours looking for something that isn't there. So if we know that the history is there to it, then we'll be able to try and communicate and connect to that history, along with any other connections that come along.
Brilliant. Yeah, that makes sense. It does make sense. And there's loads of places around here, isn't there, with loads of history like that you could really, you know, get into the nitty-gritty. Sorry?
I said North Yorkshire's full of history.
Yeah.
North fought the South and things like that. We just did a video on Houghton Castle, which has a lot of history. You've done a paranormal investigation there, haven't you?
Yep, yep.
It's quite active, isn't it?
Yeah,
quite.
So it's pretty good.
Right, so Terry's asked a question. She always has to get one in, you know. Where is the most active place that you've been to? Oh, Vicky.
I would say the most active place anyone would go to would be the bedroom with regards to spirit, because we have more spirit connections in our own home than you were the one who mentioned that.
That was very cryptic, I hope.
we have more spirit connections around us and interaction with spirit. And you have to remember, guys, that we're not all as sensitive as others. And sometimes we ask ourselves, why am I getting that smell? Why am I seeing what I'm seeing? Why am I hearing what I'm hearing? And we doubt ourselves. So spirit is very active around the loved ones, our loved ones in our homes with us. And like I've said to you guys previously, when I've gone to homes and they said there's always activity at the top of the stairs, this is because spirit will still reenact what they did when they were here on this earth plane. So if the kids are in one bedroom and the eldest is in the other and the mum and dad are in the other, then spirit will be active in the landing area of that home, the top of the stairs, because they can keep an eye on all of them rather than the individual. Active for energy, which is I'll say negative, would have been the old Nick, wouldn't it? I think that's our go-to when we talk about the most active place we've ever been. I've struggled working with spirit there because of the energies, and we did a test there using humans as in sacrifice. No, we never. We used humans as kind of props as of such, with respect. We asked for the utmost protection from spirit, and we asked spirit to manipulate the individuals. And there was a good video on that on our GSI channel where you see the interaction with spirit from scrying to actually affecting I won't say well-being, because no one was hurt or harmed in the video, just manipulated by an energy, an unseen energy, which is a really good watch. But the negative energy side of it was this place once housed some very nasty people, your murderers, your rapists, right away down to the little boy who stole a loaf of bread from the corner shop. Back in that day, from the late 1700s to the 1800s, this was a courthouse, a police station and a jail all in one. So once they entered that front door, they spent a long time in this place. And there was some really nasty people. This still is now, but this place housed a lot of nasty people.
Yeah. And I suppose for people that don't quite get this, how would you describe what it is you're looking for when you're going on a hunt? What you're looking for? Is it ghosts? Is it spooky things? Is it sheets flying around like you see on Scooby-Doo? Or is it an energy? You explain it in your terms, because people don't get it in a lot of cases.
So as a medium, I would enter a location, hopefully blind, meaning I don't want to know anything about this place, because I don't want anything to influence my thought. And we saw it in the past with Derek Okora and how he used to go on Fake Haunted. They used to go to a location, he'd get out of the Mercedes minibus, walk in totally blind, and then start working with the energy within there. So to go to a location, I'd like to go there without any influences, do my spiritual walk around, connect with the energies within, whether it's residual or intelligent, and then say to these guys, right, that's a hot spot, that's a hot spot, this is a hot spot. Let's work them areas first, because we know we've interacted with the energies there.
Okay, so just rewind a little bit. Explain to me what's residual and what was the other one you said? Residual energy.
Intelligent.
And intelligent. So what's the difference between those, Neil?
Residual energy is what was once there. So as us three stooges sit here now and speak to your good self, we leave a footprint and an emotion in time, and it's like your colour photograph and then your negative. The negative will always be there, but the colour one will fade to white. So our emotional side of what's happening now, it'll be a footprint on this earth plane, in this spot, in this town. And that will replay in time. If we have enough giggles and laughter and emotion and tears, our energy will absorb into the fabric of the building. So a castle which once had a major battle, and that emotion took place from trauma to the good things, then the stone tape theory kicks in. And for people who haven't heard the stone tape theory, the fabric of the building has the ability to absorb this emotion, just like an audio cassette tape will do on playback. It will replay something you once recorded in time. So that is the residual side of it. Now, as a medium, I can walk through this location and say, I can see an energy here. They're not interactive with me, so it's residual energy.
Right.
They're like a clockwork thing, just going round and round on loop, doing that bit in time. But then you will get the person who makes himself known to you, the bold landlord, the knight in shiny armour, or the nasty person who was once housed in that prison. And it'll be the similar, if anyone's watched the film Ghost, and Patrick Swayze gets on that train to ask for help, and that baldy-headed guy comes up and goes, "Get out of my train, it's my train, get out." That is intelligent. That is someone who is willing to fight you, whether you're on this earth plane or in spirit.
They're aware of you, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're very much aware of me.
Residual energy isn't aware.
No.
So I suppose it's like years ago when I was at school, the school opposite us, King's Manor, people used to talk about the grey lady that used to walk along the staircase. Was that your school? But that was the story. I didn't go there. I went over the road, but there was this story about the grey lady, wasn't it? That used to walk. Was it along the staircase or something? And they'd see her in the same place. Yeah. So that would be like just on a loop, would it? Like a residual loop.
Yeah, that was Charlotte Hustler. The school was built in 1639 or 36, and my favourite subject in that school was history, because the history lab was the history lesson was right at the top of King's Manor, the manor house. And I used to sit there interacting with spirit all day long, and then a rubber would fly across the class, and Mr. Cass would say, "Are you listening? Are you with us, Neil, or are you somewhere else?" And little did I want to say, well, I'm actually talking to the fabric of the building. But I love that place. That was my favourite subject. And their energy still play on a loop in there. The Charlotte Hustler family, or the Hustler family. Yeah. And the Boyton family, they also were part of it as well. They were. And
I suppose then, so would you say that is a haunting then, or is that just a residual energy? It's not a spirit as such.
It is a haunting, because it's shown itself, but it's only shown itself to sensitive people. Now, you could stand all day long with your voice recorder and your camera, and you probably won't get any interaction with the questions, but you may see that ghost train effect where it comes out on the track, goes back in through the doors, comes out, and you may see that kind of track effect of that plane in time. What you won't get is a residual energy saying, "Yes, I'm over here," because it's not interactive.
There'll be no interaction.
No.
Brilliant. Oh, perfect. That's brilliant. Right, I've got loads of questions now. Hang on. Jess over WhatsApp, you hear on TV shows about people having an attachment through connecting with spirit or doing investigations. What are your thoughts on that? Do you understand that? Yeah.
Do you want to be rude?
Right, okay. So for me, I am not sensitive. I have to have the equipment to be able to connect to spirit. I have absolutely no way of connecting. But to answer that question, it really annoys me. I think Hollywood and fake TV shows that do paranormal blow this way out of proportion. For instance, we can get to a location and we can spend 15, 17 hours at one location and we come away with absolutely nothing. It is a very boring, long, hideous job to have. So for that question, if there was something that had so much memories to be able to connect to that one place, why would that person want to come back with you?
That's a really good point.
The memories and everything that they have is to that building, to that ether, to that bit of soil, to where they had their first kiss, where they spent the last dying days with the wife. Why would that person then want to come home and watch Love Island with you? It makes no sense to me. So I don't believe in it. I've done this for 10 years now, and nothing has ever attached to me. Nothing has ever come back. Nothing has ever happened to me for doing these investigations. I just think it's the spook factor of,
yeah.
I feel different now I've done that.
The silver screen has caused that fear.
I think there's a lot of sensationalism out there as well, isn't there? People say, "Oh wow, look at this! I've been possessed."
Well,
Yeah.
sensationalism.
I'm with you on that one. I must say.
Yeah.
It's clickbait. People often say, and you might have this question on your list: what's your views on a Ouija board, a spirit board? Well, a spirit board, a Ouija board, cutting it basic, is a communicational device. I can connect to spirit with a camera. I can connect to spirit with a K2, and I can connect to spirit with dowsing rods. So why would a Ouija board be the only thing where you're going to get an attachment? Why isn't there attachment with my camera?
And just going on to Ouija boards, if you think about what you're connecting to, so you're in a castle and you're doing the Ouija board. Who was the last person that ever lived there? They were like 100 years old. So let's go back 100 years. How many people could read and write? So you think about that era, that it was only wealthy people who actually, and some of the wealthy people couldn't even read and write. So let's go back to the Ouija board, and so they're spelling out things to you. Well, they probably couldn't spell. So for me, a Ouija board, I wouldn't trust it as far as I could throw it, because you've got to trust the people who are on there with you. For me, if it was to work as it does, why are you putting your hand on it anyway? That should just move by itself. It doesn't, and my energy is still on that table, so why does it need me to touch that glass? I don't know. That's just my opinion. I
just love that you've got this balance between you. You know, you've got like the voice of reason there. And you're absolutely right.
She's going to run for mayor next year.
Oh, I vote for you, definitely.
Oh, no, we'll help you.
But no, if you think about it, a Ouija board's just a tool. You know, like a tarot card or a candle or whatever. It's just a tool. So why would that one be?
But nothing's ever connected to me. The thing we have to remember, and your guys have heard me say this over and over, fear comes from the unknown, right? The job interview, behind that door is a big fat man sat there with a shirt and tie on, and he's either going to give you £22,000 a year or say, get out, you're useless, right? With respect, of course. You are fearing the worst, and you go in there, you sit down, and you give him all the jibbly jabbly, and he goes, you've got the job. And you come out and you go, bloody hell, what was all that about? Why was all that anxiety there? I know why, because I didn't know what was going to happen. The Ouija board, the dark tunnel you're going to go paranormal investigating in, the switching off the light switch and what comes under your bed when you're 6-year-old and grabs it. Look under the bed or saw the legs off, then you take all the fear away. Yeah, if there's no under the bed, nothing can get you.
Right, so Lindsay, sorry, my love.
I would just say, if you have things like that are questions, then just come along to one night with us and you'll see how boring it is, how much editing and how much it is, and it's like,
we love it with a passion. It's boring, but we love it with a passion.
She's not selling it well, is she?
But the thing is, I'm trying to be honest with you, is because it isn't all the glams and stuff. When you see like Zach Bagans on what is these?
Now I'm going to make you think. If you don't know what his channel's called now, then you'll stress. Shall we go and have a cup of?
Or whoever his show is, it's like
Ghost Adventurers.
It's like it's a 45-minute show, and if we were to put a 45-minute video, we would have to be there a whole weekend, because there's just not that much evidence to be able to give you.
I film hours and hours of footage, and we just get barely an hour of
Yeah.
watchable footage to keep people, you know, watching.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be
And
boring.
let's be honest, they're not going to put a TV show out there with all the boring bits on, are they? Because no one will watch it.
No.
You know, it's like when Big Brother used to be on, people used to sit, my mum, it was terrible, she used to sit on the night watching them sleeping. I said, what are you doing? She said, well, something might happen. What's going to happen? They're asleep. Well, something might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was guilty of that.
Very well.
E4 special.
Yeah. God.
But
Yeah, so
it's definitely, it's like it's an eye opener, and whatever you see on TV, just do not believe, because it's honestly not the truth. It's like 99% boredom and that 1% that is it's excitement.
but I bet that 1% makes up for the whole of the rest of it.
Absolutely.
It's different for you though, isn't it, Neil? Because you can connect and
Yeah.
you can see.
On face value, you have to think that I'm
Yeah.
not talking to myself, I'm
No,
physically
that's
talking to
but
someone else.
For us, for me and Vicky,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only in the early stages of what I can even perceive. It's all about videoing and listening to what these are doing. I don't see nothing yet or hear anything, although I think I might have done. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's getting there.
I'm
I
getting
think
there.
the more you open yourself up to spirit and do what you do,
I
the
was
more
listening to one of your what was it, meditation videos today.
What, me?
Yeah, I think you on your channel.
All right.
On your channels, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I was listening to that.
come along and we do them live.
Yeah.
So I've got a comment here from Helen Steele. I'm very privileged to have been to many investigations with Neil and Vicky and some amazingly active locations. Old Nick was awesome. So hi, Helen. Thank you for that. Lisa Mason wants to know, what's the best place in England that you've investigated that's had loads of evidence?
One of the most recent places, because I don't want to keep labeling the same place, was we filmed 2 episodes per TV channel up in Edinburgh. One was at Jedburgh Jail and the other one was at Inverness. It was filmed by True Ghost Stories and ourselves, so we have to mention it because it's coming on TV soon.
Brilliant.
However, it is leaking about somewhere on YouTube, and if you want the link, I can send you it.
Did you just say that?
I'm not sponsored by saying this. So myself, Vicky, David Barrett with Paranormal Project.
Paranormal.
I know it's a tongue twister. It's my mum's teeth, they're false. So yeah, it's we went up then. We went up there with them amazing guys, and it was really good. And that had, there was so much crossover evidence because again, David said to me, go off and do your stuff, Neil. We'll get set up. He's a camera crew to follow you. He's his wife at the time following us around, and Vicky as well. And I must have spent an hour alone just doing my mediumship side. And then when we got back and all teamed up together a short time later, everything David asked for, it came back with the same evidence what I'd already give. Now, until we put 2 videos together and married it up and showed that, then Dave, we were saying to Dave, oh yeah, I've already connected to him. And you see in the edited version, which is coming out soon, David asking for what was the dog Neil connected to, and it says bulldog. And then I come in and I'm an hour earlier saying, oh, I've got a little bulldog here. It's sat outside with the guard and things like that. And then this Scottish voice from nowhere goes, is that you, Neil Cook? And it just shouts it out of this ghost box. I mean, it was amazing, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, the crossover evidence to everything I did as a medium and everything they did, it just like, it was like a jigsaw going together like that. Perfect.
Yeah.
That
think
was
it's
the best.
As a paranormal investigator, like, I believe in everything that Neil does. Don't get me wrong, but I have to have that evidence because I don't do any of what he does. So as much as I believe everything he says, and 9 times out of 10 our researcher can confirm whatever Neil's bringing forward, it's, for me, the best evidence is when it joins together, because it not only has Neil brought it forward already, but then there's no way that our equipment can say what Neil said. it's
not
that,
programmed
that
to
crossover over evidence is unbelievable, and so that's what makes like a proper good night, doesn't it?
Even if it could be manipulated, David's equipment, as in his ghost box equipment, and me in another part of the castle talking about spirit could not be programmed in front of a camera crew and then put on camera live. I mean, because we filmed it all live from start to finish. There was no like it got took away and edited and put together. It was like, this is an unedited version of your night, camera on his shoulder, get going, and they just followed us around and filmed a lot. So there was, even if you could, I would have had to collaborate with David, saying put this word in, put that word in. But you know yourself from having ghost apps on your phone, it's pre-made, you download it from Google Play and it's there. And it was one of them apps where you would have downloaded.
Is there a fly in your living room?
No, it's we've got this little thing that I'm lying. Here it is here.
There's something flying about in here. Is it an orb? Vicky, is it an orb? No, it's a fly.
It's because she took her shoes off, that's why.
Get the Hoover out, Vicky.
I do.
Vacuum cleaner.
Brilliant. So, a couple more questions. Well, another comment now about the Ouija board. Helen Steels makes a comment. Great point, Vicky. So, and then get Neil to tell you about the activity and experiments at the Sunderland Air Museum.
Oh, that's one of my favourites. It's one of my favourite places. It's big, it's noisy, you have to get it on the right night. It's you either get nothing or you get everything. They either want to play or they don't. It's one of them lucky draws really when we go there, isn't it?
So we went up to the Sunderland Air Museum, we filmed an event there, and there's the original helicopter which was used in the Falklands War sat there, Western. It was used to pick everyone off the ship when the ship was on fire. So talking about emotional footprints, you had all the people who were ever rescued when it was a Sea King helicopter, and you had all the trauma from the Falklands War and crisis, and that was taking people from the ship alive, dying, burnt, and the unexplainable. This helicopter was last used in the Falklands crisis, and it's now on show in the museum. When we first went up there, it was in its early stages. I'm not being rude, I've got a picture here I'm going to show you. So it was in its early stages of being putting back to how it used to be. Can't show you that one, who sent me that? So we sat in the helicopter, or should I say, I sat in the helicopter, and I started connecting with spirit. And I connected with a gentleman who I believe to be the pilot, one of the pilots. He may not have been the guy who flew in the helicopter on the day of the war, but he had very, very much an attachment with this helicopter. And as I spoke with him, I asked for evidence that he could show to us the people who were stood all around the helicopter, and the helicopter started to vibrate, right? This is 20 ton of a Sea King helicopter. You might know the true weight of them. This is me guessing it. It started to vibrate, and it was on flat tires. That's how old the helicopter was. And then, as everyone was touching it, they could feel the vibration coming out of this helicopter. If though it was starting up, and it probably hadn't run since it was decommissioned, then all of a sudden, the winch started rocking back and forth like that. Yeah.
Wow.
And I got out the helicopter with excitement, and I took a picture, and this isn't going to do it justice. So I'll show you the picture on here first, and I can send this to you. So that's the helicopter, and you can see a little circle. Someone's, well, actually, this is from the newspaper. You're not going to see this, but if we send you the link later, inside that red circle, there's the pilot sat there looking out.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, I can kind of make it out. It's not very clear.
No, I'll send you the link to it, and you can.
Yeah, send it, and we'll put it on the page. That's incredible.
He was obviously intelligent, Angie.
Oh yeah, very much so.
You connected to him.
I connected to him. He gave me his name. He told me the story of it. And the rest I'd already knew anyway, because it's quite famous, this helicopter. I believe the Most Haunted team did something with this helicopter as well. And yeah, it was a really I mean, Helen is referring to that. I mean, unless this engine was starting up and getting ready to take off, no one could have simulated.
Why would it have been vibrating? That's just
Inside the building.
bizarre.
Inside the building as well, yeah.
There
Yeah.
was another thing there. We had the Connect camera, didn't we?
Yep, the Connect camera. Do you want to tell that?
We're in the biggest hangar, and we were next to one of the old engines that a plane had crashed. Neil had connected. There was a pair of boots and an engine, and that was all that was recovered from this crash. And there's a story behind it. Neil had connected to the owner of the boots. So we've got the Connect camera on. That's a bit of an equipment, and what it does, it's like a skeleton. I don't know if you've seen the Connect cameras, and it picks up on if there's anything moving in front of you.
Like stick figures.
Yeah, like a stick figure. And so Neil was talking, and all of a sudden Neil said, "Right, the energy's here," and there it was, popped up on the screen, the energy of the spirit that Neil was connecting to. So that was another great evidence that Neil had said, right, the energy's here, and within seconds of him saying that, it appeared on the screen.
Wow.
But before that, there was no stick figure, that nobody had moved in front of it. So for me, that was great evidence. That was that crossover evidence again.
Yeah.
The medium and the paranormal side, the investigating side, connecting. So it was.
If you've ever, that's the alarm going off, Vicky's going to do it. For the people who are watching and they've been to the Sunderland Air Machine Museum and they've met Keith. Keith is the caretaker, and he's so cute. He'll look after everyone there. But every medium who walks in, he puts them to the test. And he said to me, he said, right, so you're a medium, are you? And I said, yeah. He said, right, follow me. And he walked me through all. This is my first time there. And it was pitch black dark, and he had this little torch thing on his phone. And we got to this location, he pulled this blanket out, and he said, right, tell me about this then. So I did psychometry, and it was a part blade from an aeroplane, and then the engine block on it. And I put my hand on it, I started working with spirit and my spirit guide, and straight away I saw a family being killed by this engine. I then named the pilot who was flying it at the time. And actually, I was shown a location which was very near to where we were at. Now, Sunderland Air Museum is the old Sunderland Airport. That's where the Battle of Britain was from. So this aeroplane would have took off from that location and unfortunately crashed. And I told him all this, and he said, right, you do for me, mate. He said, because everything you said is just like, I know anyway, because he knows everything about the place. And he said, that confirms to me that everything you say tonight is gospel, yeah.
How brilliant is that?
Mediums, yeah.
Yeah, because I suppose that gets rid of the charlatans as well, doesn't it?
It does, yes. And it's they're talking gospel, they're talking legit, or I can't say the other word, but yeah, no, you can't, but I know exactly what you mean. But for me, it's like you see a lot of these ghost busting teams on Facebook, and there's loads of them, and it's always that sensational, oh, check this out, it's a monk in a graveyard, and it's like an hour's worth of footage, and that there's probably just going to be a shadow or something, or if anything. But the way they hype it up, and like, we're the best, we're brilliant, and all of that, and sometimes I think, well, is it just hype? Is it just to get hits? Because it's a bit clickbaity, isn't it?
It's a very vicious field to be in. It's all.
I can imagine it would be.
Who's better than what? Who's caught better than who has? And well, for GSI, we're just like, if we've got the evidence there, we'll show it. If we go somewhere, well, we haven't got out to show you. So what's the point in trying to make it happen?
We started off to please ourselves and no one else, and I say that with respect. What I mean is, we never ever thought of going public with what we do. Me as a medium originally 30 years ago, and these guys as paranormal investigators, it was one of them hobbies which we love. Let's go out there and get the gear and do it. So we did. They used me as a tool, because I am, and and they did all the research. And we had a lot of people like your Helen Steels, your Michael McIver, and all the other people who were probably in the chat watching. And they said, oh, can we come along? We said, yeah. And it was only when people said, well, can we not go in? And we said, well, we can, but we'll have to split the difference in the cost as in hiring the place. So if it costs £200, it's all going to cost you a tenner to get there, and that's all we ever did, and that's all we ever still do. It's like this, we might have made some money to buy a pack of hobnobs at the end of it, and that's about it. Not for the money.
You're out there, aren't you?
Like I said,
photographs. Can we have a quick look at those? Now, we know I'm not very good at sharing my screen, so bear with me on this one. I've lost
stay with us as well, or we're going to lose you again.
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, let's just see what happens, shall we? Right, the first one came from Teresa Cave. Let me just, have I done it? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Now, this came from a house that nobody smokes in, so there was no smoke. And she said, can you shed any light on that hand?
I can't, other than it could have been double exposure, but I wasn't there, so I can't say it was someone like that and then they moved away as the picture was took. Is it spirit?
What makes you think it's a hand?
Well, I said, she didn't say that. I said that because it looks like hand.
See, I don't see hand in it, and I don't know. It's where his body is. Could it have been his own hand and then moved quick
Towards the camera like that and back. No, the thumb's on the wrong way, unless he's got funny hands.
No, it isn't.
It is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it can't be his own hand, yeah.
I don't see hand in it.
What do you see, Vicky?
I'm not sure, but when you said hand, I thought, oh, what do you mean hand? I saw exactly straight away where you were going with it on the black shirt, because it jumps out on you straight away.
Yeah.
But until you said hand, now all I can see is hand. If you'd have said to me, it's a plate, then, or a bowl or something, then I would have gone, oh yeah, I can see that. But because you've said hand, now I'm thinking hand all the time.
Right, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Me as a medium, I don't sense spirit in the picture, but that doesn't mean spirit wasn't there. That's because I'm a physical medium. I work with energy, and it's quite hard to do readings on a one-to-one basis as we are now, because I have to feel your energy.
Yeah, it is difficult over Zoom and things like that, isn't it?
I have seen pictures and I have give readings like that, but it's like I either want to get it 100% or otherwise I'll sound like a charlatan just making it fit. I'm more concerned with that picture that there was a pile of ironing done in the background. Who does the ironing and fold it up and leave it there?
Who does that?
That's fair.
Who knows?
If you want a top, you have to search through it all. That got me more than a hand. No.
Michelle sent a couple through as well. I just want you to have a quick look at these. Now, the first one, I'm rubbish with photographs. I never see anything in the photograph. I'll be dead honest. It just looks like blurs to me. But the first one, I'm not quite sure what I'm showing you on the first one, but let me just show you it. You might be able to see something that I can't see. That's the first one that she sent in.
Are we looking at the reflection in the TV?
I'm not quite sure, Neil, to be honest. This is just what she sent. I can't zoom it in any more than that. But then the second one that she said, I think, is what she's blown it up to be, which is that one.
Yeah, that's a reflection of that.
All right. Okay.
So the laptop on the bed, because they've used the flash, it's reflected or refracted onto the ceiling. Or they need to finish painting the ceiling, but that looks like a refraction. It's also done the same.
Let me show you the second one.
So them three white lights are a reflection of her taking the photo in the TV.
Because the screen's made up of so many layers, it'll show multiple exposure.
Yeah, well, I think she's blown it up. Let me just show you the one with the blow up. There you go.
Oh, right.
That was in the TV, isn't
it?
Right.
Was it in the TV? Because what's this then?
That's going to be the reflection of...
from the. If you go back onto the other photo, you'll see that in the TV there's a picture frame that's in it.
Right, I see a bearded like man at the bottom of that white image. Although the white blur has a face like image in it, i.e. the eye sockets, the nose, There's also another one underneath.
Yeah.
Now I can see the one underneath, but I can't see the one in the actual blur. Isn't that weird?
Dog.
I don't know. I will say two things
Oh my
here.
God, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a dog there.
There looks like there's a dog. Oh, look at this person here. There,
Yeah.
that looks like me. With the
That
bald
looks
head
like a
shirt.
little Shih Tzu. Or
That
something
looks
that.
like a boy,
Yeah.
a young boy with
Yeah.
a Shih Tzu dog.
With a Shih Tzu dog.
Let me just say what I was going to say, right? There's two things about images. It'll either be pareidolia, which means your eyes automatically see images and make things out of them. If you look at the clouds, you see elephants and unicorns and stuff. You look at photographs which are pixelated, you'll also see stuff. If you look at that, guys, there, that's me, that.
That is not you.
It is.
It is not you. That is a young lad, about
Right.
12, 15-year-old with a Shih Tzu dog.
So the second thing I was going to say was the form of scrying, whether you take pictures of water as it's whirling in a bowl and images show themselves, and the early forms of ITC which were ever done when it came to connecting to spirit and capturing spirit in images, they used to use an old VHS video recorder, point it at a CRT TV, that was the old analog ones,
Yeah.
put the white screen on the kind of poltergeist speckly stuff, and just point that camera at it and press record. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube where images of the people in spirit connected to the videographer or other people connected to the family have appeared in them. So
Wow.
I'm saying that more than likely there's a connection with them images which may not be pareidolia with that person who took the image.
Yeah.
Or the house. Yeah. So that's,
I think she's watching stuff. She's got any feedback on that? I'm sure it'll come up in the chat for us.
I like that one.
Good.
Stuff in the,
Well, speaking of the dog, because you picked up on the dog there, Elaine Rigg wants to know, do animals pick up energies? My cat looks into a corner and meows.
Yeah, I would say so.
everything which is sensuous, as in from the animal kingdom to ourselves, has the ability when they come back in spirit to be picked up on. Dogs and cats are the most sensitive and psychic beings other than our good selves. I can remember my postman saying to me, "Why does your dog always bark when I come to the door?" And I said, "Well, dogs are psychic and they pick up on negative energies." And he went, "Oh, right." Then he went to give me the mail, looked at me, then threw it at me. And he only just absorbed what I said. But yeah, it's like police dogs don't just smell people because they might have drugs on them. They also like pick up other things. You know, from how a dog walks up to you or a cat, whether it hackles her up or it's like, I'm not sure about you. And then he'll go, "Oh, well, he smells all right. I like this guy." And
Yeah.
whatever the cat does.
Give off an aura, don't we?
Yeah, we give off energy. The aura is part of our inner self, but the energy we give off as an energy, working with energy, like the animal kingdom does, then that would be picked up by that animal. We all give off different energies, some stronger than others, and dogs can pick up on this. They know by a tone, which is energy, whether you're saying good boy or very naughty boy. I mean,
yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've got a Labrador the same as you. She's actually conked out in the corner over here, but she's exactly the same. You know, she knows if she likes you, she likes you. If she doesn't like you, no chance. But so a couple more questions before I ask you about your new venture. I'm not quite sure what this means, but Vanessa wants to know, can you not ask for spirit to come forward and show themselves to bring them in quicker?
Yes, I do, but I'm the only person who will see them. That's the issue. As a paranormal investigator will say, if spirit's there, show yourself, and they'll use a multitude of devices to try and capture that image. When I'm working with spirits on a one-to-one or with a location, then I'll use my spirit guide and my third eye to see this person. For spirit to physically manifest and show itself takes a lot of energy, just as much as it does for a medium to try and connect to that. and as much as we are trying to connect, they're wanting to do that as well if they're intelligent spirit. So to see spirit yourself, you're going to be very fortunate. Spirit will always show itself as light anomalies first. And we're not talking about the dust when you sit down on your bed and it just vaporizes into the room, but we're talking about light anomalies, linear lines of light shooting in and out of people's body, not that zigzag thing across and must be spirit. It's a dragonfly.
Take a lot of energy for a spirit to show itself?
As much as it for me to connect to that, yes, it does, and that's why we're always wiped out at the end of it. But yes, so we'll see spirit in early manifestation as probably out of our side peripheral vision. Will go like that. My mum always saw a dog on our landing area which belonged to her mum, and she said, oh, I forget the name of it, and she said, oh, whatever the dog's name was, she just crossed me again. It was always out of the peripheral vision, but as a medium, my mum knew it was a mum's dog. So they'll show themselves that way, light anomalies. For a full-bodied apparition, then that must be a historical moment in time for them to physically show themselves for that, or there's a serious message somewhere for you.
Brilliant. Michelle said that the photograph that we've just been looking at with the faces and the little boy and the dog, she said it's actually off a video. Her TV is never on and she gets orbs out of the TV. The area she lives is off a very old bridle path, and she gets lots of different coloured orbs flashing in.
So the fabric of the building could be connected to the previous owners. It could be connected to the law of the land, the energy of the land, or it could be loved ones who are connected with this person who are showing themselves. We've done mirror scry and we've done water scry, and in history they used to do a form of scrying where they pointed the camera directly at the TV. I'd like your viewers to go and look for that. It's ITC video camera. There's a lot of work with it, and there's some amazing footage. There was a program once on, I forget the name, and it was just dedicated to this. One episode was dedicated. It was like Tomorrow's World, but it wasn't Tomorrow's World, and it was something like Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, if you can remember that. And it was all about ITC, and there was a professor there from a university doing it, and it, on face value, everything they showed us, I believed, was true to life.
Brilliant. The other lady with what I called a hand, sorry, Vicky, she said there were only those two there at the time that was taken.
Although I don't sense spirit, I'm not saying spirit wasn't there, and more than likely it was. I normally ask the person in the photograph what was happening at that time when the photo was took. Was there an anniversary, an occasion, a bereavement, or was something traumatic happening in your life, even down to an illness? That spirit would come and show themselves to you. Were they coming to give you healing on the? Was that your point of healing needed, or were they just coming to photobomb you?
But not only that, Neil, had someone taken a picture prior to that, and that's residual image from the previous picture.
Maybe, but
picture within a picture.
Old cameras used to do that, but that more than likely was taken on a digital device, which is a lot different.
If there was only him there, then it has to be a selfie, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Interesting stuff. I've got a question from Val. She's wanting to know about astral travel. Do you know anything about astral travel?
A little bit, yes.
Okay, she wants to know, can somebody astral travel to you without having your permission?
No.
Right. Straight to the point. Okay. I don't know a lot about it, so I'm deferring to you on this.
I've spoke to someone recently about this who asked the same question, and the name wasn't Val, but it's astral traveling is where someone will project themselves in another location for a purpose, and it's normally, as I found it, messages. I know my mother, when still alive, went to my daughter's house, which she hadn't seen for 15 years, and showed herself. And it was the husband who seen my mother stood at the end of the drive, and he could only describe it as being, I think your mother stood at the end of the drive. And he'd seen this. He'd woke up, they lived in a bungalow, his bedroom window looked out on the front of the property, and he just saw her stood there. And my mum was doing what's called remote viewing. and she'd have done this without like sharing it with us. But when the husband shared it with us, I knew that that would have been my mum doing a remote viewing, which she was quite good at. No one can get into your space by astral traveling. It's a joint effort. You don't just. It's such a grey area in my field. I know about it, but I don't delve in it. It's you would be working with two energies to be doing it, and one soul energy wouldn't just imposter someone else's either.
Right. I'm just getting a little bit more on this, Neil, because as I said, that this is coming up from the chat and the live message. She wants to know about this because a friend's told her, a friend told her that a medium has told her that somebody can astral travel to you without any permission, and she's afraid of it.
No.
I mean, surely that would be unethical and irresponsible.
It just. I don't think the spiritual kingdom would allow it to happen, let alone this person physically being able to do it.
For me, I know nothing about this, but I would think that you would have to connect them two energies to be able to astral travel to that place anyway. You would have, it's like having a telephone call, only having one phone. You have to have them two phones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes perfect sense to me.
Don't hold me to it because I know nothing about it. But I would say it's like a telephone call. You have to have them two connections to be able to make that call. Does that make
sense? Do you know? I think you've just explained that in a nutshell. So effectively, if someone's saying that they can astral travel to you and that they're watching you and all the rest of it, and that they're touching you and things like that, that's just not going to happen.
I wouldn't think so. You would have to have the energy to connect.
Well, you were saying about spirit manifesting itself. Surely that would take a tremendous amount of energy to do something like that.
Let this person know, because I've just been speaking with my spirit guide now while you were talking. Let this person know that the male who has said this to that person who thinks someone's astral traveling to him is, I can't say that. Sorry, I'm speaking with spirit, you know. So it's not Val, it's someone else, and she's asking on behalf of Val.
Yeah.
Right, okay, then. Let this person know, Val, if it's not yourself or this other person, that it's not happening. It's never happened, I'm being told, and it won't happen. And I can't say that. How can I say it? Sorry, Matt. I'm talking to a Texan cowboy here, and he just says it as it is. Okay, it's a load of horse.
I think we get the gist, Neil.
It's a load of horse manure, right? Tell her not to worry. It's someone trying to say something which he can't even do, right?
Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you for that. There you go, Val. Can't happen. Stop worrying. Right, this new venture between you two. Tell us a little bit more about that, because we've run way over, but I'm all right.
Should we get the lights? No.
Oh God, no.
I'll let you go.
We've dressed up like action men without the oil. No.
Wow.
The history and the paranormal, like we said at the beginning, goes together very well. Me and Paul met for a reason, because we'd arranged the date. No, because our paths were meant to. It was the website, wasn't it? Our paths were meant to cross.
Did you swipe right?
Yeah. I genuinely believe people come into your lives for a reason to do, and normally it's just to take your car because you haven't made payments. But on other reasons, it's for a reason. And I've always said in my words of wisdom, people who come into your life for a short time, for a long time, fall in love with you, or have to say goodbye sometime, and you have to be prepared to deal with that. And that's my philosophy anyway. At some point, people will step into our life path, on our path in life, and they'll join us. And it could be for a week, for 2 weeks, 2 years, or forever. This guy was meant to come into my life path as the same as I was meant to come to his. We both share the same passions in dressing up in fancy dress.
We do, we like it, don't we?
No. So
I was going to say that's only on a Saturday night, but it's Saturday night, isn't it?
if you want to hit delete now, press it. So we have a massive passion in both
For the full
paranormal,
Monty.
for the full Monty. Yeah, we're on at Sheffield next week. Hey, when you see the gear. No.
Yeah, mate, shush.
So
The funniest part about this is Vicky's face.
We've come up with a channel name called MC, which is our surname's initials. We're not DJs. Don't get us on that. And we do love our urban explorations, whether it be an old house, an old haunted house, a tunnel, a haunted tunnel, a derelict building, a haunted derelict building, or anything to do with what once was here, history, old railway lines, tunnels, old buildings, everything and anything. If you know there's a derelict building or something which is worth an exploration, then we'll dress up for you.
Oh God.
No, we're into.
You know, I'm going to go and find somewhere just to see you dress up.
We'll send you the pictures. So
No.
I'll let Paul tell you anyway what we've just done. Sorry, that was
What have we just done?
the exploration.
No, we've just done of Walton Castle as well, and paranormal and the history of that go hand in hand. So we didn't do much on the paranormal side of Walton Castle. We want to bring the viewers of our videos everything about that castle, even though there isn't a lot of history online, is there?
No.
And the amount of research that we do is quite a lot, a substantial amount, and so we want to bring that to the viewers. And doing this enables us also to paranormal investigate too, to see if we can connect, or see if Neil can connect, and we can record that and maybe have that as a separate video. So we're incorporating two fields here really. MC Urban Exploration is purely about the history and not so much about the paranormal, but whilst we're there, we will film the paranormal, and that will go on a separate channel.
Wow, yeah. That's brilliant.
I mean, with this castle, this old moat house, this old fortress, as you call it, it's up in Swainby. It's free. You can walk in there to derelict old gatehouse. Yeah. And it was built by the Romans to protect the sanctuary in the road, as in like the throughway from one town to another, Northumberland, the borders as of such. And then it belonged to the Darcy family, and
it did, yeah.
It goes right way back to De Bruce as well. I mean, Robert De Bruce, he had his hand in it as well. And the Mary Queen of Scots.
It started back in 1066. William the Conqueror had a battle with King Harold and obviously won. But the north of England rebelled against William. And so William sent up his armies and burnt and pillaged and raped and killed people up this way, and got most of his lords to build castles, hence why Walton Castle was built. So there is a lot of history behind it, and this is what we want to bring out in our videos and our learning. But in Walton Castle as well, going back to your stone tape theory, where there's energy in those walls, and we try to, well, Neil does try to, connect with spirit there too.
And we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of history in one spot on the crossroads of a place where every soldier marched through.
And we've also done one of the disused railway tunnels at Kettleness and Sands End, and we're about to do another one, aren't we?
A follow-on
part two of Ravenscar. But
and is this a different YouTube channel that you've got for this?
It's called toothlessdinnerladies.com. No.
Please don't search that. Please don't search that. Ignore him.
It's called MC Urban Exploration.
Yes.
Brilliant.
MC Urban Exploration. You'll see his mug and my mug, and we've only just put it together. We're into our third video now, which we're just planning to get out there.
Perfect.
When the wife gives me a day off from the garden. If I don't mean sunbathing, I mean digging it.
We'll search for that on YouTube. We'll go put in the chat, definitely.
Along the history of that, there was 7 deaths.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of residual energy in the tunnels themselves. So we want to try and bring that.
I just think that this is something that's really, really useful, because I know myself, and we've talked about this before, Neil, because you've done an investigation at Fellowship, but there's very little in the way of history online about Fellowship Hall. I did a bit of research myself on that, and I managed to find some, but it was so hard to find any information without actually physically speaking to people.
It is very hard.
It was, no, Jan, when she researched it, there was very little that she found, and it was a lot of word of mouth from like years gone, you know, like stories that had been passed down. We were quite lucky that one of her friend's mum worked there, so she'd been there 20 odd years or something, so she kind of knew a bit of the history prior to that 20 years and that 20 years.
Yeah.
We kind of had a little bit of information, but like you said, there's not much of it on the internet.
No, there really isn't.
We had some good connections there. I don't know if you've seen the video with David.
I have, because it validated everything that I already I said to you. Do you remember?
Wow. Nice one.
Because I'm there every week.
The little boy there, Charlie. He was sat on the stairs because he couldn't sit down on the floor, so he had to sit either on a stool or on the staircase. But he didn't like going into the hall because there was a dark clothed figure, which kind of scared him. And
well, I've connected to that in there. It's Robert Clapham was the guy's name. Okay. I've got the research and I'll send it to you. It's really interesting. Because I knew it was there, but obviously that was before I started developing. So I've always been sensitive, so I knew. But then having spoken to you that first time around about it, I went and watched your video and sort of everything you were saying, I was like, well, yeah, I know. So then I started to try and connect, which I did in the end.
Nobody's come back and ever said, oh, Neil, everything you said in that video, I can say that's right and that's right and that's right, because there's no history what our researcher did. So that night, them guys, well, in fact, some of the ITC David did was I think did validate it. Brian Holiday actually picked up on something and he got some feedback which validated the boy as well. Yeah. I'm also aware there was a hidden trapdoor in the place as well.
There is, and you can feel it under the carpet.
Yeah,
but originally the original Yarm school was connected to the building and that was demolished. Right. And I didn't know about that until a few weeks ago when I was speaking to the current caretaker. So that's the next thing I need to look into now to find out about that.
Yeah, there must be. Yeah. So are you looking to go there at some time?
I'm there every week.
Right, switch it off. Why haven't you invited us?
We'll talk offline, Neil. We'll talk offline.
You bet we will.
Do you know what, guys? This is the longest video we've done. I could talk to you all night. I've got so much more I'd love to ask. Will you come back and do this again?
All the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's been amazing. You guys just blow my mind. The next one you do, right, here's a deal. We'll talk about fellowship. The next ghost hunt you go on, can we come along as Northern Lights and do a bit of a live?
I believe Paul's in the arrangement of doing something. Halloween, he spoke about something. I don't know if that's still going ahead, but we were going to do something for you, Halloween.
Right, okay. I'll talk to you about that. But yeah, we'll come along. We'll go live on the page and broadcast it because it's just fascinating. I will definitely be at the next one. Yeah. Wild horses couldn't keep me away.
I think the other one's playing now. If you
yeah.
That's the Boozbeck one there. That's running in the background along with all the.
Well, you can all go and have a look at that because it is on YouTube on these guys' channel, on GSI's channel. So if you want to go and have a look at the Boozbeck one, do go and take a peek because it's fascinating stuff. It really is.
You've got a box of hankies.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that bit. I haven't seen it all, but I have seen up to that bit, and I had to switch it off.
You haven't seen it all?
Not all of it. This is about 3 hours worth, Neil. I'm a busy woman.
Blame the videographer. My fault. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Do you know what? I'm going to let you go. It's Saturday night, and I've kept you for long enough. Thank you so much, guys. You've been amazing. You really have.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having us anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely be in touch and we'll get you back on very, very soon.
No worries. Thank you. Take care,
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Go. Switches off.